This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Manitoba RCMP have arrested a 14-year-old boy after a tip from Interpol and the FBI. It's part of a multi-jurisdictional investigation that led to arrests in 2 provinces. RCMP say 2 Canadian teens were plotting violent attacks against their schools, one in Nova Scotia and the other in Rivers, northwest of Brandon. CBC's Chelsea Camp was in Rivers today and has this story.
Here at Rivers Collegiate, students are in class today and things are running normally. That's despite news a local teen and a youth from Bridgewater, Nova Scotia were arrested for planning simultaneous attacks at their schools. Bridgewater police were tipped off Friday by Interpol and the FBI that the teens had been talking online about staging a violent attack at Rivers Collegiate and Parkview Education Centre.
There was some clear planning and threatening behavior that we had to intervene in.
Startling news for students at Rivers Collegiate.
It's kind of surprised, didn't expect that to happen in this town.
It's just kind of like a surprise, it's usually everyone here, and it's a pretty close community, I'd say, so I feel like it's kind of hard for people.
Police arrested the Bridgewater teen on Tuesday. They found an imitation pipe bomb and an imitation assault rifle, along with clothing with hate symbols. Manitoba RCMP arrested the youth in Rivers Monday while he was riding the school bus.
We wish we could have arrested him at his residence, but that didn't happen. So arresting him on the school bus was the safest and quickest way to put him in custody.
He's been charged with uttering threats, and police say he may face more charges. Parent Renee Favron says it's a scary situation.
I'm just really grateful that they were able to get ahead of it, and before this was a very different conversation.
Superintendent Jason Klein released this statement. The Rolling River School Division continues to work with RCMP to ensure schools are safe now and in the future. And in a statement, Rivers Mayor Heather Lamb is asking people to rely on official law enforcement statements and avoid sharing unverified information. Students say there's different stories spreading in town about the attacks, but they're glad things are okay for now.
They handled it pretty well. I think it might have just been a joke, I don't know, but they handled it well. They're right on it.
Police say there's no evidence linking the planned attacks to specific groups or organizations, but say the investigation is in the early stages. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Rivers.
She lost her brother to an overdose and worries the province isn't doing enough to prevent others from ODing as well. The Winnipeg woman is urging the province to open more in-person rapid access to addictions medicine clinics and says it could save more lives. But as CBC's Santiago Arias Orozco explains, right now that's not in the plan for Manitoba.
Carol Packer says her brother Lee Earnshaw was a light in the life of those who loved him. The 42-year-old died from an accidental overdose in 2021.
He was the best little brother, friend, father, husband, son. He was, we all loved him very much.
Last year, an inquest into his death found he had gone to a rapid access to addictions medicine clinic, or RAM, for treatment. He was told to come back because he still had drugs in his system. The judge examining Earnshaw's death made a number of recommendations. Among them, the province should increase the number of RAM clinics. Manitoba Assured Health says there are still no plans to open more of the facilities.
This is a life and death situation. How long are we going to be a work in progress, and how many more lives are going to be lost while we're waiting?
Manitoba has 7 RAM clinics offering substance use disorder treatment. Dr. Ginette Poulin helped the government set up 6 of them. She says they offer resources on a walk-in basis and without a referral.
We've been facing a lot of toxic supply on the street, which has led to a higher sense of acuity and a higher need to have services to support individuals so that way we can reduce fatalities.
The director of St. Boniface Street Link says the organization worked with Earnshaw. Marion Willis says people are still waiting for treatment.
The RAM clinics are doing the best they can, but they have very short windows of time to see people because they have such a large, patient load or client load. They're not always able to take on additional patients.
Sherhill says there's been no new RAM clinics that have opened in Manitoba since 2023. But in 2024, they launched a virtual drop-in option for same or next day appointments. Still, Ernst's sister would like to see more clinics in hopes of preventing other families from losing their loved ones. Santiago Arias Orozco, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A major new housing project is under development. The First Nations-led affordable housing project will have hundreds of units. It will help transform the former Kapiong Barracks military site into the country's largest urban reserve. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
Nearly 2 decades after the closing of the former Kapiong Barracks, the federal government and Treaty 1 nations have teamed up for the first housing project at Nawe Odana. The $91 million development is called Ndayan Oma, meaning home is here. It will bring 260 new units to Canada's largest urban reserve, with 109 offered at below-market rents. Chief Gordon Blue Sky of Broken Head Ojibwe Nation says the project represents years of work and carries deeper meaning.
When we talk about home is here, we talk about that work that we've done in the past, then the trials and tribulations that we've had to overcome.
The development is being led by Treaty 1 nations and is part of a much larger plan for the former Kapiong Barracks site. Eventually, about 5,000 homes are expected to be built at Nawe Odana. Federal Housing Minister Gregor Robertson says projects like this are needed as Canada struggles to keep up with demand.
Canadians should be able to live in communities where they can access transit, where there are good work opportunities, and where their kids can thrive. But the challenge we have in Canada is for several decades, not enough housing has been built.
Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham says major infrastructure upgrades, including the widening of Kenaston Boulevard, will be critical to support the development. He says the project will accommodate growth at Nawe Odana, address aging bridges, and enable sewer upgrades to protect Lake Winnipeg.
What's needed to make it happen is funding commitments by provincial and federal governments. I think they do understand the need for it.
Winnipeg South Centre MP Ben Carr says the project reflects a broader partnership.
And here today we've got proof of what can happen when you have the vision, the will, the determination, the tenacity of First Peoples, of Métis, working together, but also the partnership of levels of government.
Construction is already underway, with officials saying about 60% of workers on site are Indigenous. And Ndayan Oma is expected to be completed in 2028. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Firefighters are raising alarm bells after 6 people have died in Winnipeg house fires in the past 3 months. The most recent was on Trent Avenue on Monday. The Firefighters Union says right now Winnipeg's fire fatalities are 5 times higher than the national average. The union president says the highest volume of structure fires in Winnipeg happen in areas with older homes and vulnerable populations.
Alone, children, crowded housing, things like that. And that research aligns directly with what our members are seeing on the ground here in Winnipeg. You know, the structure fires that we're going to are typically located in an area where our most vulnerable are, and the demographic of individuals who are being injured or passing in these incidents are similar in nature.
The union says crews continue to face staffing shortages. The city says while there are day-to-day challenges, significant progress has been made in staffing, infrastructure, and equipment. One of downtown Winnipeg's most well-known hotels is set to close for the better part of a year, all to undergo renovations. Starting July 1st, the Fairmont Hotel will close to guests for a complete remodel of its 340 rooms. The Velvet Glove restaurant will also be getting an update, along with the lobby bar, event spaces, the indoor pool, gym, and the Fairmont Gold Lounge. The hotel is expected to reopen in the spring of 2027. Weather specialist Riley Lachuk in now. And Riley, a very different scene outside today than what we were seeing yesterday.
Yeah, incredibly sloppy out there, Brittany, even icy at times, particularly through the morning hours. You can see the tail end of some of that mixed precipitation, some of that freezing rain that pushed through the city as we got through the early part of the day. Certainly a bit icy on my walk into work this morning. And you can see a bit more of that coming down the pipeline here as a lot of this instability rides along the jet stream. And you can really see that jet stream defined on satellite imagery. And it's picking up all of this Pacific moisture and carrying it across the Prairie provinces. So we're in for a bit of an unstable few days ahead across most of southern and central Manitoba. That has really bumped up temperatures, though, up to 7 degrees this afternoon in Melita, 2 degrees in Brandon, as forecast at 1 degree this afternoon in Winnipeg. You can see where we're into some cooler air in northern Manitoba, -7 in Thompson, still fairly seasonal for this time of the year. Overnight, I think we do have a chance at seeing a few clear breaks through the night, and then we'll do this all over again tomorrow. A chance of some scattered showers or flurries as we get through the day, and we'll try for 2 tomorrow afternoon, Brittany.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Coming up, fighting fire with fire. How controlled burns could help prevent out-of-control blazes. That story after the break. Before southern Manitoba was mostly farmland, it was mostly tallgrass prairie, and wildfires were a part of the natural life cycle. Now fire experts are using that knowledge of the past to try and control wildfires in the future. The CBC's Matt Humphrey explains.
Dan Rapinda's passion for wildfire control started when he saw flames creep toward his home in Stewartburn in southeastern Manitoba.
And to see it approaching our property kind of opened my eyes to it.
He teamed up with Laura Reeves and the Stewartburn Prescribed Burn Association. The volunteer organization helps landowners do controlled burns.
And we thought, yeah, that's really something we should be working on here. And we talked to the Reeve, and she was right behind us on it.
They're in Winnipeg for the Prairie Fire Summit, where conservation leaders learn about prescribed burns.
By bringing fire back into that landscape, we're actually improving the health of that ecosystem, providing better habitat for wildlife, better forage quality for grazing, but also reducing that wildfire risk as well.
Organizer Rennie Grills says a proper prescribed burn follows a specific plan.
Yeah, so we have perimeters with firefighters around. Quite often we do some work like we might mow a fire guard and reduce all that vegetation. We'll light a line along that fire guard that we've put in.
Firefighter Dakota Gilmar came from Alberta for the conference.
It's the most cost-effective, small fuel vegetation management strategy that's out there. I also have seen it protect a lot of critical infrastructure.
He says in 10 years of fighting fires, he's seen the number of wildfires grow significantly, and prescribed burns could help.
I mean, we see it right now in Alberta with what we've seen with Jasper and some of our national parks due to the limited vegetation management practices that they're allowed to utilize. There's a lot of deadfall and, overburden and overgrowth that could be minimized.
Living Prairie Museum curator Marika Olenek says prescribed burning happened for centuries before colonial farming.
We're continuing to take care of the land the way people have always taken care of the land. We've just had a massive interruption in a lot of the skills and knowledge of how to do that. And so learning with and from Indigenous partners is also really important.
Attendees hope the warm months will see more controlled fires and fewer out-of-control ones. Matt Humphrey, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The insults have been flying fast and furious at the Manitoba legislature. Gone is order and decorum, replaced instead with chaos and heckling from politicians. And it's not the first time party leaders and MLAs have been warned about their behavior. CBC's Ian Fraze has the latest on what's been happening inside the chamber.
Honourable Speaker, the conduct in this House is not good.
Progressive Conservative leader Abhi Khan demanding MLAs behave themselves.
The Minister of Families says, "Cry me a river, you poor immigrant."
The NDP is disputing that, saying the one at fault is Khan.
The leader of the opposition started yelling across the way at me, "You're terrible," and then said to me, while leaning forward, "Whatever you are."
Uzoma Asagwera believes that was a reference to their gender. They are Manitoba's first non-binary MLA.
Doesn't dehumanize me. It dehumanizes those people in our communities who are already unsafe, who are already vulnerable, and who maybe when they look in the mirror, don't have the level of confidence within themselves to just shake that off.
You've all heard that heckle before. Whatever you are saying, say outside. And why is that a heckle that's commonly used every single day in the chamber? Because you are protected by parliamentary privilege in the chamber.
CBC News has tried to confirm what was said, but video of question period from Tuesday is inconclusive. It allegedly happened at this point.
We're grateful for our partnership with the superintendent from Pembina Trails School Division, with the board chair, both of whom.
Order, please. Stop the clock. Order, please. Order, please. Order!
There were other testy moments Tuesday, the speaker calling order more than 30 times.
Order! Stop the clock, please.
And the NDP's Rochelle Schott appearing to block independent MLA Mark Wasiliu from appearing on camera. Khan argues the NDP is distracting from bad news, like Manitoba having the highest spike in property taxes in Canada.
What are the issues that are facing Manitobans today? Healthcare, affordability, bills, groceries, and we're talking about decorum.
The speaker is investigating the alleged comment made by Khan, but there was a lot of heckling and yelling at the time, and we don't know if he heard it. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, Riley, back in now. And Riley, I put my winter boots aside and I pulled out my good old West Coast rain boots.
Yeah.
Because boy, oh boy, was it slushy and messy and just kind of gross out there this morning.
I was saying this on Up to Speed a little earlier in the day today. If you are going to be out in your vehicle at any point over the next couple of days, pick up a jug of washer fluid. Do 2, maybe grab 2, because we're going to be going through a very sudden freeze thaw over the next several days here, where we'll get a lot of melting during the day, but some freezing at night. So it's all part of this unsettled air mass that we've been seeing across the province. I'm going to start with precipitation. This is a quick snapshot at our winter precipitation, taking us from November 1st all the way to the beginning of this week. And yeah, parts of the province, as expected, just not getting the amount of precipitation that we need through the winter months. Yes, some pockets where we were in extreme drought conditions last fall, for example, through parts of the Inner Lake, now closer to that normal precipitation, as is parts of the Parkland, but a good chunk of south and south central Manitoba lacking precipitation-wise. Now, what we did see over the winter did actually help the drought situation a little bit. Based on previous times that I've shown this and I've looked at this, this area of abnormally dry conditions has receded a little bit. Still looking at some drought conditions persisting, though, even though we have seen some precipitation through the winter months in parts of the Inner Lake and certainly into parts of northern Manitoba. So certainly some rain as we head into the spring months will be very helpful, I think, not only for the wildfire situation, but also for our agricultural producers as well. And I don't have a lot of precipitation in the forecast. Moving Futurecast into motion here, I'm expecting that we'll get a bit of clearing through the night tonight, but as we see that storm track really tracking across the central prairies into southern Manitoba, that does bring the persistent chance of some showers to the south, some flurries to the north, and along this line, the potential for some freezing or mixed precipitation really over the next couple of days. And you can see as that jet stream ebbs and flows a little bit, that area where we could see some freezing rain dips a little bit further north into Thursday, for example, into the Interlake, but I do think we have a chance at seeing some of this into the city of Winnipeg. And then into Friday, another shot of this coming as all this Pacific moisture continues to push its way eastward as we get through the next several days. So expect a very unsettled couple of days ahead in terms of where we are most likely to see some of that freezing precipitation, most likely through the Inner Lake and into parts of the Parkland, but I do have a risk of seeing some freezing precipitation again over the next couple of days as we get into the city of Winnipeg even. So just stay aware of the conditions because things will be changing, especially as we see temperatures like these dancing around the freezing mark for the next several days. So into Thursday, looking at another breezy one through the afternoon, up to +2, mostly cloudy skies, but there's that chance of a few showers or some flurries. Spring starting +3, a few sunny breaks, and then things right through the weekend hanging around the freezing mark.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
We have more ahead right after the break. Stay with us. A Winnipeg elder says she's been traumatized after being harassed and accused of stealing at a Walmart earlier this month. Now, First Nations leaders are calling for an apology and a review of the incident. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
Mary Laquette says she was harassed by these two men at a Winnipeg Walmart earlier this month. She says they accused her of stealing, swore at her, took items from her, and told her to leave the store.
It's not right for me, somebody to treat me like that. I wasn't even thinking of stealing.
Surrounded by the Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs and leadership from Lake St. Martin First Nation, they say it's another example of mistreatment towards an Indigenous person in a retail or hospitality setting.
We should never have to have press conferences about how our elders should be treated with respect. And right now, this is something that we continue to hear about.
The incident comes in the wake of a First Nations teenager who is recovering from leg surgery being kicked out of a Winnipeg hotel while waiting for his stay to be extended. And this incident, where a security guard is seen punching and kicking an alleged shoplifter. First Nations leaders say the man on the ground is Indigenous. Police say the security guard was using brass knuckles.
Retail stores and establishments will be held accountable. Doesn't matter where it is, our people deserve respect, and you will start treating our people with respect.
A bystander who recorded part of the incident also asked one of the men why he was bothering Laquette.
It's my job. You can't do anything.
Walmart would not confirm if the men in the video worked at the store or worked for a private security company. The 75-year-old uses a walker and uses it to store the items she's going to buy when she grocery shops. Her son says she deserved better.
My mom had a right to access a grocery store to buy her food without being unfairly degraded, targeted, and profiled.
Walmart says it's aware of the concerns raised by Laquette and are looking into it. The Chiefs are calling for an apology and a full review. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The mother of a boy violently assaulted in school says authorities didn't take the situation seriously. Instead, she says she's had to move her son to another school to escape the incessant bullying. CBC's Dura McElwraith has that story.
It's like right between their forehead.
Theo Osborne is dancing again, about a month since the 11-year-old was assaulted while at a Steinbach middle school. Theo, a member of Pimachikamak Cree Nation, suffered a concussion, lost a tooth, and had some hair pulled out in the attack at Stony Brook Middle School. His mom, Melissa Johnson, says he's been using traditional dance as a way to heal.
He used to dance every day for like 2 hours a day. He'd make me go watch him in the living room and he'd practice, but then after that happened, he wasn't dancing anymore.
Johnson says the students who attacked Theo made fun of his long hair, and she believes it was racially motivated. Her son tried going back to Stony Brook 3 times, but she says the bullying continued, and adds school officials minimized Theo's experience. Bambi Bertholet with Minnow O'Daywin, a local Indigenous cultural group, wants to see the school follow through on the division's anti-bullying policy.
If they just go back to what they were doing before, you're just going to have more of the same. Just Theo won't be there to experience it, but it'll be other kids experiencing it.
The Hanover School Division wouldn't comment, citing student privacy. Developmental Studies professor Sherry Lynn Skwarchuk says when a child speaks up about being bullied, it's important that school authorities intervene and listen.
Bullying is, by the way, perceived as what the victim feels. So if the victim is feeling bullied, then that's bullying, whether it wasn't intended to be a joke or not.
Johnson hopes changing schools will be positive for Theo. He's already making new friends.
He's proud of who he is every day, not just on Indigenous People Day. And I think that if they really embraced that over there, that maybe it wouldn't have led to this, where he was bullied for his culture and for who he was.
Johnson says her son has plans on dancing in the school's talent show as he continues to heal. Dura McElwraith, CBC News, Steinbach.
The inquest into a fatal train derailment in 2018 heard emergency crews would have been extremely challenged in reaching two men who were pinned inside for hours. 38-year-old Kevin Anderson died after the train he was conducting crossed a washed-out section of track. The crash was in a remote area with difficult terrain. An expert says it created a situation few emergency personnel would have trained for. Information was also slow to come in, and responders couldn't go in until the area was assessed. Anderson was pinned for 9 hours before he died. Another man was eventually extricated and airlifted to Winnipeg. The inquest wrapped Wednesday. The Bank of Canada has decided to hold its benchmark interest rate steady at 2.25% for the third time in a row. But the bank's governor says that could all change for reasons beyond Canada's control.
The Canadian economy continues to face heightened uncertainty related to U.S. trade policy and geopolitical risks. Now the war in Iran has added a new layer of uncertainty. Its impact on the global and Canadian economies will depend on how long the conflict lasts and the extent to which it spreads across the Middle East.
Well, inflation has remained close to central bank's 2% target for more than a year now. If a prolonged war keeps energy prices high and in turn raises inflation, the governor suggested the bank may raise its benchmark interest rate. The Bank of Canada's next decision is at the end of April. It's a crackdown that some consumers say is too little, too late. The federal government has fined 2 major grocery store chains for labeling foreign-made products as Canadian. It's a practice known as maple washing. Sophia Harris now on the new efforts to stop it.
Brenda Nichols has been committed to the Buy Canadian movement, spurred by Donald Trump's tariffs. So she's happy to see the Canadian Food Inspection Agency finally start to dole out fines to grocers that mislabel imported food as Canadian.
They should have done it from the very first, and then maybe now we wouldn't be having these continual problems almost a year later.
Last year, CBC News uncovered more than a dozen cases of so-called maple washing, like raw almonds branded as made in Canada.
We don't grow almonds in this country.
At the time, the CFIA issued no fines. But now the agency is cracking down, hitting 2 Loblaw-owned grocery stores in Toronto, each with a $10,000 fine. A Fortino's, which displayed French-made cheese spread with a maple leaf symbol, and a Superstore, which displayed American-made broccoli slaw with a maple leaf and a Product of Canada declaration.
I think that CFIA is handing out fines now because it's still front of mind. People like you are asking questions. Consumers are bringing it up. So it's in the news.
CBC News has also learned the CFIA is investigating Sobeys head office for similar mislabeling problems in store. Welcome news for this Sobeys shopper.
I think it's really important, particularly for grocery stores, not to be misleading.
Sobeys and Loblaw told CBC News they strive for accurate country of origin labeling, but when dealing with mass inventory, mistakes can happen. Still, many shoppers feel they should pay a higher price for those mistakes.
What do you think about a $10,000 fine for a big company like Loblaw?
I think it should be $100,000. $10,000 is not very much for a multi-million-dollar company.
CFIA fines max out at $15,000. However, Ottawa is reviewing that limit to ensure that companies don't treat fines as simply the cost of doing business. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Vancouver.
Steinbach City Council has voted to hold the line on property taxes this year. The city passed a $44 million budget last night. The mayor says strategic borrowing deals have allowed the city to pay for many projects itself.
The borrowing, 5-year borrowing that we have, paying a lot less interest than you do over 10 or 15 or 20 years. We've been able to save so much money and put money into reserves that we've been able to do these projects internally in many ways.
The city says its top priority for the coming year is flood mitigation. Torrential rains flooded hundreds of properties over the last 2 years, causing millions of dollars in damage. Musicals have a vibrant history in Steinbach, and the city's Arts Council wants to celebrate that. CBC's Christopher Garreau shows how a new show is bringing together a community around a passion for song.
There is a life about to start when tomorrow comes.
Generations unite to perform 3 showings of Broadway moments, a menagerie of musicals. More than a show, it's a celebration of the history and growth of the art form in Steinbach. Co-director Christy Penner recruits people like Chris Winkler, who returned to performing after decades away, and Mercedes Thiessen, who's been a part of Steinbach Arts Council's performances since 6th grade.
To see another group of children getting to do those roles, that's really special.
Last year's performance of Fiddler on the Roof, parts of which feature this week, sold out the 300-seat theater for all 5 shows. Sellouts are now common, and the Arts Council wants a larger performance center. Thiessen says Steinbach's Mennonite culture plays a role for many who enjoy the musical movement.
A lot of people grew up singing in church or acting in their church production, and so lots of these people have some reference in their mind of what is it like to do drama or sing.
And sometimes it's a deal with your dad. Chris Winkler's son is joining him this week. His daughter joined him last year, as did his father, who last performed Fiddler on the Roof decades ago in high school and agreed if Fiddler came to Steinbach, he would get back on stage.
So we ended up having just a really amazing time being creative together. It's not something we've done a lot of.
First-time director Christy Penner says her mentor David Clausen has played a big role in making Steinbach Arts Council one of the largest in rural Canada.
He is just a wealth of knowledge, and we all love David.
Mm-hmm. It'd be hard to find a human being that doesn't like David. It'd be really, really difficult.
Old Memories Creating New Ones, the special musical review, Broadway Moments, runs until March 21st. Christopher Garreau, CBC News, Steinbach.
Still ahead, the latest on the war in the Middle East when we return. Iran is threatening retaliation after an Israeli attack on its South Pars gas field. It's the world's largest natural gas field, which is shared by both Qatar and Iran. Iranian state media say its workers were moved to safety and crews were trying to contain the fire. Tehran says it now considers oil and gas facilities across Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar as legitimate targets. Meanwhile, Iran also confirmed the country's intelligence minister was killed in an airstrike. It comes a day after 2 other top Iranian officials were killed. Iran continues to launch attacks on Israel. 1 missile struck a residential area in the Tel Aviv area. No injuries were reported. The attack happened not far from where a missile hit an apartment overnight, killing 2 senior citizens. The CBC's Crystal Gamansing reports.
This is the building inside the compound where a part of that Iranian missile came down. Emergency services explain that it came in at an angle, hitting the ground and then taking out a big chunk of the apartment. There were people in the complex, but they were all sheltering. One of those individuals who just lives across from this apartment told me that at the moment that that impact happened, she heard a loud explosion. She described a really strong smell, and then, of course, a debris field.
Because it was just a piece of the ballistic missile, it didn't shake the building the way that some direct impacts of like one solid missile have shaken the building in the past.
This is one site where officials are saying potentially cluster munitions are being used. These are an incredibly challenging type of munition. It is a warhead that's packed with other smaller bombs, and even if they intercept the main munition that is coming in, the smaller bits inside bust open and cause a wider debris field. IDF officials are also saying that strikes in these residential type of areas are war crimes. They're saying it's war crimes because it's residential, but also because they are using these controversial cluster munitions. Now, whether or not they are controversial is really depending on the type of country. Not every country has signed on to the cluster munitions ban. We know that Israel has not, Iran has not, and the United States has not signed on to that ban. So if they are using cluster munitions in their strikes against Israel, it may not be against a wider ban that we see that other countries have agreed to. We have asked if Israel is also using these types of munitions. We have not heard back on that. However, there are all multiple scenes, just like this one, that are leading to a lot of stress, anxiety, and fear for residents. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Ramat Gan, Israel.
The other front in this war is Lebanon. CBC's Susan Ormiston is in Beirut.
Overnight, 4 Israeli airstrikes hit central Beirut, killing 12 people and injuring dozens more. One of them hit here in the Bashura neighborhood. What's interesting about this spot is this is the second time an Israeli missile has targeted this area. The first time it was last Thursday on a building which is claimed that Hezbollah is storing millions of dollars of cash and gold underneath that building. It hit the building but didn't bring it down. It was still standing when we were here last week. This is what it looked like just a few days ago. Kids were walking amongst the remains of that building. There were families living just behind the building. As you can see, it's now completely demolished, fully collapsed, as if to bury whatever was underneath this building. When we got here, there was a man carrying a Hezbollah flag up to the top of this pile of rubble. You can see him planting it there, an obvious statement to Israel. The attacks last night were some of the worst in central Beirut in decades. Israel says the wave of attacks was in response to Hezbollah rockets, 100 of them, and drones flying from Lebanon into Israel late yesterday. So what we're seeing here is now daily attacks on both sides. All this as the IDF is reportedly preparing for a possible ground invasion, a full-scale invasion into southern Lebanon, in spite of immense pressure internationally, including from Canada, to try to find a negotiated solution instead of escalating this war. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Beirut.
About 80% of all the oil and gas shipped through the Strait of Hormuz is bound for Asia, but the vital waterway remains closed, essentially by Iran. One agency is calling it the largest oil supply disruption in history. Salima Shivji has more.
The pain of gas shortages because of the war is hitting so many countries in Asia. In Sri Lanka, a country that has dealt with a deep cut in supply before when it was near financial ruin 4 years ago, it's deja vu. Long lines outside gas stations as the country rations its gas and people are left wondering why. I've been queuing since 4:30 this morning, this tuk-tuk driver says. I have no idea if my children have eaten or not. Others started this war, but we're the ones suffering, says fellow tuk-tuk driver Samuel Paris. It's hard to make a living. Most countries in South Asia, which import nearly all of their oil and gas, have warned they only have enough in reserve to keep the lights on for a few more weeks. So there's rationing and a change in schedule. Sri Lanka has moved to a 4-day work week for government offices and schools, as has Pakistan, where authorities have raised the price of fuel. Bangladesh closed its universities early for the Eid holiday, and they're doing rotating blackouts to save power. Vietnam is encouraging people to work from home, and in Thailand, the government is asking those workers who are still going in to take the stairs instead of elevators and to ditch their suits and wear short sleeves so that they can turn down the air conditioning and save as much as they can. Here in India, there's a shortage of cooking oil and reports of hoarding. So some restaurants are switching to wood-fired stoves and some are even forced to close. The country gets much of its liquefied petroleum gas from the Middle East. But there is some relief secured over the weekend.
So Nanda Devi vessel has just arrived at early morning today at 2:30 a.m. and it has come with a parcel size of 46,500 metric tons of LPG.
It's one of a handful of Indian flag vessels that got through the Strait of Hormuz after direct talks with Iran, a country that India has always had friendly relations with. India's foreign minister is calling those talks, which yielded results, a win for diplomacy, even if there are still more than 20 tankers bound for India stalled in the strait and going nowhere. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Mumbai.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Riley back in now, and as we were saying earlier, this time yesterday that snow was already falling.
Yep.
Switched to some freezing rain this morning. Yes. Very icy out there, very slushy. Feeling more like spring for Manitoba,
a little
at least.
bit. Yeah, we're slowly turning the page. I mean, some of the longer range forecast models are showing a return to some cooler air as we get toward the end of the month again. But yeah, certainly it's going to feel a lot more like we're turning the page in the coming days here. You know, not bad to take the pups out for a walk, or maybe your pup enjoys the snow, just like Cheney does, or Jane, I am not entirely sure how to pronounce that, but thank you, Kim, for sending this picture in. Looks like a ton of fun in the snow, the type of fun I like to have. You can send your pictures, as always, to talkback@cbc.ca. So as we get through the day tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, kind of like today. I would expect that we'll likely see a few peaks of sun in there, but we get into more of a southerly flow as we get through the day, and that's going to help bump our temperature up to 2 degrees through the afternoon in Winnipeg. There is a pretty good chance that we'll see at least a few scattered showers, maybe some freezing precipitation as we get through the later part of the day tomorrow once again. Looking at temperatures, I wanted to show you what our friends to the west have been dealing with here temperature-wise. Maple Creek, Saskatchewan, 18 degrees this afternoon, 18 in Calgary. That's all because of where the jet stream sits over the western part of the country, ushering in some of that warmer air in parts of our province, northern Saskatchewan on the cooler side of that, still seeing temperatures that are closer to that seasonal mark. So you can really see where that jet arcs northward and has really been pulling in some of that Pacific moisture off the west coast and funneling it right through the prairie provinces. So that's what is going to keep things unsettled as we get through the next several days here in our province. As we get through the night tonight, we are looking at, particularly in places like Melita, where we've seen some very warm temperatures through Virden into southwestern Manitoba, some patchy fog likely in the southwest corner of the province tonight, but there's a risk that we do get into some patchy fog really anywhere along or south of the Trans-Canada Highway overnight tonight. -7 in Dauphin overnight, looking at -12 and -13s through Gimli into Peguis. And temperatures at the Pas OCN hanging around -8, -9, and closer to the -25 mark into northeastern parts of Manitoba. And as we press through the day on Thursday, first thing in the morning, where that jet stream cuts through parts of northern Manitoba, there's likely to be some mixed precipitation or some flurries along that line as we get through the day tomorrow. More likely to be some snow through Flin Flon, Norway House, with a few flurries into Thompson, but you can see where that mixed precipitation kind of cuts across northern Manitoba. Mostly cloudy skies across the south tomorrow, and there's that risk we see some mixed precipitation or some showers, Brittany, as we get through the later afternoon into the evening.
All right, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Still ahead, what's the only thing cuter than baby animals? Mini animals. That's next. Plus, Riley's back with the last check on our forecast.
All right, so we're going into the final day of winter on Thursday. Maybe this is what your house looks like still after some of that light snow we saw. Well, you know what? I mean, we're not going from that to this in one day. We can hope, right? Maybe it'll help brighten the spirit a little bit. Spring officially beginning 9:46 in the morning on Friday, and we are looking at temperatures that will start to get some melting going as we get toward the end of the week here. So into Thursday, chance we could see some showers or some flurries, mostly cloudy skies, 2 degrees. 3 degrees for that start of spring on Friday, and then I'm watching another system that could bring us some light snow through the later part of Saturday into the early part of Sunday, and that will bring in some slightly cooler temperatures, -2 into the day on Sunday, mix of sun and clouds as we get into Monday, and temperatures start to dip a bit by the time we get to the middle of next week. Well, life on a farm can be hard and very demanding from experience, but that's a moot point for some cows living the high life just outside of Ottawa.
I love a play on words. Enjoying more attention and demanding more cuddles while they're at it. Here's your Daily Lift.
This is Pandy. She's one of my miniature cows. She's a Highland with mixed with the speckled park. Come here. We also have 2 other mini cattle. We have a bull named Chief, and we have Dorothy, who's new to our farm, and she is also a high park. Mini cows are, it's a genetic, it's a chromosome technically that they have. It's a Congo positive, and they stay small. Well, she particularly, she's like very cuddly. She's like a little human, little baby. Loves to go for walks and loves her pet time, that's for sure. So this is Chief, this is my mini bull. As you can see, it's grooming time at our place. They're all in a lineup. That feels good, eh? Chief is our bull, and he makes sure he takes care of his herd. He also loves cuddles. If anything, he likes to protect me from other people all the time. That's why we have to bring Pandy out to get some love.
I love that they're all getting a fresh spring dew.
Our cows were not that cuddly.
No.
I don't think they would have tolerated the grooming like that.
No?
No.
Well, they are ready for spring,
Exactly.
and so are all of us.
A fresh dew.
Have a wonderful night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
See ya.
How many